Look at this wonderful team we have tonight. How exciting. First of all, I shall introduce them one by one. We have our wonderful Rebecca. She shares a name with our left back who's yet to be seen this tournament. But Rebecca, we can always rely on. It's Rebecca Shaw. How are you doing, Rebecca?
I'm very good, thank you. Been a hectic day preparing for Silverstone, but getting excited now and happy to be on the podcast again.
It's good to have you here before you go watching all of that fast car business at the weekend. And not just Rebecca with us, of course. It's not Sweet Caroline, it's Sweet Stockport. Claire Jeffs is with us as well. She's come to join us on a Monday. How are you, Claire?
You are so funny. You know what? I am really good. Stuff is just good right now. And I'm not going to complain because life's hard, isn't it? So I'll keep being happy whilst it's all good. How are you?
I'm not too bad. I'm good. I'm keeping the positivity. I'm happy. Things are good. Lots going on. Wimbledon started as well. I love this time of year. Sun's out. Lots to go with. And we've got football. We've got Grand Prix. Everything's going on. So it's all very, very exciting. And of course, making up our Fab Four today. It's not John Stones, it's the man from Maidstone. It's Ben. How are you doing?
Oh dear.
We had to get a link in somewhere. How are you doing, mate? You well?
Yeah, all good, mate. I'm just about recovered from yesterday, and I think my hairline's receded in the last sort of 24 hours, another 10 years. So that's how much that 120 minutes felt. So yeah, I mean, a bit of perspective on things now, so we're all ready to go.
It was a long one. I'm glad I've had 24 hours to just calm myself. Simon's in the chat as well. Evening, Simon. Thank you for joining us today. And we'll get straight on into it, do we? Because there was a game yesterday that was comfortable. It was a nice, easy passage. No one was ever under threat. Everyone was calm. It was a wonderful evening. We'll start with you, Rebecca. First of all, where did you watch it, and what were you doing when Jude Bellingham saved her ass, for want of a better term?
Watching it from behind the settee at that point, I think. Oh yeah, it was. I think it was just when Bellingham scored more than anything for me. I feel like if you're gonna score in the 90th minute, 95th minute, make it an overhead kick. I think you've got to. What a stressful watch that was, though. We don't make it easy for ourselves, do we?
No, it's not. It's not easy, is it? It's supposed to be nice. It's a Sunday afternoon, It's supposed to be a chilled out one, but yeah, it was pretty bonkers. Claire, were you thinking it's going to happen? You were comfortable, weren't you? You thought, yeah, this quarterfinals all the way. Never in doubt, was it?
I mean, let's be honest. I was not confident. I could see us getting beat because Gareth Southgate, it's such an achievement that he's made such world-class players look bang average. Like, we've underperformed the whole way through the tournament. Scrape through. Everyone's saying, yeah, we still finished top of the group. Yeah, with one bloody win. It's not like we've set the world alight. We've literally scraped through it. And I suppose that is all you have to do. But that game yesterday was woeful to watch. Like, the last few minutes was really good, I thought. But it had to be. And that's the kind of tempo we need to be seeing, because otherwise we're going to get our asses handed us by the Swiss team. But I did just want to mention, the same old thing that happens every time, we win and then we start singing It's Coming Home, and non-English people tell us that we're arrogant. And I just wanted to say, that as a song, it's not about being arrogant. It's not about disrespecting any other team. It's about dreaming. It's about wanting your team to succeed. It's not arrogance at all. It's about the past glory, for that football team. And it's about, the perils of missed opportunities, and about what you really, really want, and the pain that doesn't disappear from the last tournament. And it's about the hope that the men's team can bring it home. Like, it's not arrogance. So yeah,
it's bringing it all together, isn't it? It's a song that we sing because and the one thing I've always liked about England is that it cuts through the clubs. It cuts through the clubs a little bit. Everyone can stand together with it, and we don't sing "It's Coming Home" because a lot of the time that we think it's coming home.
Of course not.
I'm old enough to have seen this go wrong many, many times, and I'm sure it will happen many times again. I'll still sing it every tournament because it brings everybody together. I was watching it in the pub yesterday. It's just the atmosphere that you get. Everyone's sort of around it, and it was sang with relief yesterday. That's for sure. It was sang with relief. There wasn't a lot of belief behind the song, but it was a nice relief.
Yeah.
Ben, Jude Bellingham, something different level, surely. Something different level to pull that out. 2 minutes to go, overhead kick from a Stoke Rory Delap style throw-in. I mean, what a combination of football.
Not much, eh? I mean, from a player that I didn't notice until the last sort of 5-10 minutes, really. I think, as Claire said, I don't think any of us were confident in that last 90 seconds that we'd managed to get ourselves a goal because, it just, everything about that second half just had Iceland vibes to it. It just, the way it was happening, unfolding, we just couldn't break them down. And we didn't really come close. I mean, apart from Rice hitting the post in the second half, don't really think we threatened them enough. And, for a player like that, and that's the thing, it's the big players for the big occasions, and he's only 21. He's just turned 21 and he's pulled out something like that out of the bag. And yeah, I mean, I get the whole point of what Harry Kane was saying about, it's one of the best goals in England history. It's like one of the biggest goals in England history. Like, for me, it's only going to be one of the biggest England goals in history if we go and win the tournament now. That's the thing, because otherwise you end up going out the next round or the semi-final. You're going to say it was up for absolutely nothing. So, I mean, yeah, fair play to Jude, to pull something like that. I mean, we had to change the shape. We had to bring on a few changes, albeit it was so late. It was so late. And Southgate is one very lucky man. I think we all said that. It was a massive get-out-of-jail card, that. And, I think, to be fair, I think once we got the goal, I think everyone probably assumed we'd go on and win it. I didn't think we'd probably go and do it in the first minute of extra time, to be fair. I thought we might be a bit harder than that. But once we got that goal, our defence will sit in and they will, put everything on the line for it. And the only thing you can say is the fact that we got through, we passed, passed the test, but a lot has got to change for ahead of Saturday. Otherwise, we could get our asses handed to us, which, at this moment in time, I can see the Swiss doing us. I've no confidence in this for that game unless drastic changes come in place.
That's it. Like tournament football, innit? You get tournament football, and sometimes it's just getting through. Sometimes it's just ticking the boxes. But you've seen if you've had some performances along the way that tell you it's going to be. But we haven't seen it beyond like 5-minute spurts, maybe. But even then, it's turgid, and he's refusing to change. And it was just hoping that one of his class players did something magical. Just not tactics, and it's not good enough. It's not going to get you anywhere. I mean, it was a pretty rough ride. Slovakia, to be fair, did what they needed to do once they got the goal, but they sat back and it was just the same old thing again. Couldn't break them down.
And you needed that moment of class, though, and you had to wonder where it was coming from. I've seen online people saying just because Jude Bellingham plays for Real Madrid doesn't mean he's world class, and saying that he's mediocre, and people saying like Phil Foden's poor and is carried in a good team. Like, that's not the case at all. Like, they are world class players. Like, look what Phil Foden's achieved in his career. Like, it's not a bad player. Like, it's just frustrating, isn't it? Because that we've got such a talented team of players, and they're just, for whatever reason, not producing it. And I've been saying it a long time, but I'm still going to say Southgate out. Let's sack him before the quarters.
Let's just do it. Simon's been well in agreement. This is it. We'll have this is it. Instead of the election on Thursday, we'll just vote for a new manager, shall we, for the game on Saturday?
Anyone else on an all-nighter, by the way? I am so into the elections. I can't help it. You can see me on Twitter at like 4, 5, 6 a.m. And then at 10, wondering why I didn't go to bed because I'm working.
Why did I stay up for that? Why did I stay up for that? Can that count Bin Face? Is he a manager? Can we get him to step in? It'd be all right, wouldn't he? I mean, we'll come on to Southgate because I think we touched on it earlier. The changes were so slow. We're watching the same thing over and over again, thinking, when's he going to do something different? When's he going to change something? And clearly, I get stubbornness and I get sticking by the way you play, but there's been nothing that's told us that works, and it has worked so far. So it's kind of limited changes. Rebecca, from a perspective of, do you think there was any chance, any hope in hell that he's going to change it, or are we going to see effectively the same 11, bar the fact that Mark Gahey suspended?
I think like the only other change is going to be if Trippier is fit or not, because he went off with the knock, didn't he? So it's like we'll just be trying to tell what happens in terms of who's going to play on the left, because we seem to have no players there. But yeah, it's one of them. Changes need to be made, and you can tell by the Harry Kane goal. I mean, that came from our subs with Palmer and Ivan Toney. So it's one of them where you see the impact that like the subs can have. And I just feel like in terms of the starting 11, they all just seem to be going through the motions at times during the match, whether that's how Southgate's got on playing or whether that's just what they've got in their head in a way. But I do feel as though they need to make sure that not every spot is guaranteed at this point, because it does just seem they're going through the motions. And I mean, when they went 1-0 up, we sat back like we were 1-0 up, like we've seen in other matches. So we do need to see a change if we are going to try and put something forward on Saturday. But it's just going to be interesting to see who plays on the left.
Yeah, the balance hasn't been there the whole tournament. I saw a really bizarre interview earlier where they were interviewing Jordan Pickford, and they were saying, "Oh, Luke Shaw's training. Is he ready to play on Saturday?" And he's like, "I'm the goalkeeper, mate. Like, it's not really my call." Like, he looks all right and he's running around, but you probably need to ask the gaffer. To be fair, like,
I love Pickford. That video of him at the end of the match is just him. Like, that's just him. He is. Oh, honestly. I think it was one of them. If he was playing for any other country, I think like no one would like him. But because he's England, and for me, because he's Everton, I love him. Like, I don't think you're ever going to find anyone like Jordan Pickford again, are you?
No, he won me over in the penalty shootout against Colombia those years ago. And there was a bit of shithousery. We love a bit of shithousery.
I love shithousery.
In a shootout, as well, I was thinking, because we always a bit of arrogance. That's what we needed, and it made the difference. And he's never, touch wood, don't want to say this and then in a week's time look stupid, but he hasn't let us down. You know, he's always been strong, and he's always been a top keeper. And that back four was definitely struggling again at the weekend. I don't know about you guys. I don't know what you think, Ben, but for me, I've never seen him play so bad in terms of on the ball, his possession based. And it looks frantic. For someone's experience. I don't know what you think about that.
Yeah, I mean, he always won in the tournaments that he's always showed up. I mean, sometimes he might make, well, I wouldn't say a big error, but maybe goals, maybe at the near post catch him out sometimes. And you probably think he could have done better there. But in the tournaments, he's been nothing short of fantastic for us. And again, I think I said it before. I think I said it maybe last week. Like, some players are just better at international level than they probably are at club level. Not saying Jordan Pickford's a bad keeper at Premier League level, but his performances for England, I wish sometimes he'd show that a little bit in the Premier League, because when he's on it, he's a class goalkeeper. And for me, he's been one of our best players in the tournament, along with Mark Gahey as well. They've both probably been our best players so far. Pickford's, again, probably hasn't had loads and loads to do, but what he has had to do so far, he's done it to perfection. I mean, the goals so far he's conceded, he's not had any chance with both of them. But again, he shows that passion that you need from an England side. And like you say about the shithousery, like, we need more of that. That's the thing, because I've never been a big fan of teams that are too nice. You don't win things by being nice. You win things by getting in players' faces, making it difficult for them, making them want to tackle you, get a card. That's the thing. You want to wind them up, and that's what we need more of. And again, I don't think that's going to come from someone like Southgate, because he's not that type of manager. I mean, can you imagine him ripping into the players at half time saying, you need to be more shithousery? He wouldn't do that, anything like that, would he? Neither would Harry Kane. He wouldn't be saying that to the players. So that's the thing. If he had a few more leaders in that team, even maybe Harry Maguire might have mentioned that. But at this moment in time, it's like we're too nice. That's the thing. And, you know, if we had a bit more shithousery, a bit more streetwise to us, then, you know, who knows? We can maybe come out of our shells a little more and play a little bit more freedom. But at the moment, the players just look too scared. And, you know, I could tell that in the Slovenia game the other night when, you know, balls were going underneath John Stones' feet in the first 5-10 minutes. And you're going, oh dear, this is like, you can tell this is a bunch of players that are under pressure at the moment. You know, it's not just the manager. So that's the thing. And they really need, and I've said this for the last few games, they need a big performance from somewhere, just a statement of intent. You know, we don't have to win the game, you know, like 1-2-0 comfortably in that. We just want to see a bit more, a bit of Georgia. You know, that's the thing. If we played anything like Georgia have done the last couple of games with the intensity, you know, the passion, you know, the drive and just the enthusiasm, then I think we'd be more than happy with that. So, yeah, that's the thing. If we don't show that on Saturday, we are going to get our asses handed to us. So, yeah, it's a lot of thinking for the manager to do.
It's not looking good. And you said the only people I think they've looked like that a bit is the subs. I think the subs, when they sort of come on, because they have to come on into a system where sometimes it's a little bit go for it. I think Cole Palmer's one in particular that's kind of wanted to get the ball down, drive out, and I think that's where we've got a number of players that are in the pocket dribbling at sort of that midfield defensive line, but we don't do it enough. It's always pick the safe option. And a couple of times we did when Mainu got in, he's quick feet. Foden's very good at it too. So Saka, we don't take the risk in those areas because we're just like, we must keep the ball to pass it around for another 5 minutes and go nowhere, rather than take a chance and back the fact that we can then win possession back quickly if it's not successful. It's all just too defensive, isn't it? And too it wasn't so much of a problem because we qualified, but again, we went 2-1 up in extra time and sat bloody back again and just went, oh yeah, bring him on. You're thinking, oh, for goodness sake, like you've just got the initiative. And there was a couple of worrying moments towards the end as well. You're thinking, last thing you need is bloody penalties after the afternoon we've had. They just topped everything off. We've all got to work on Monday. Come on.
Yeah, it's like the thing about the subs as well. Like, it's took Mainu off, and like it's not put the right subs on until too late into the match, which has shown with what's happened at the end of the match. So he needs to sit back and think, you know what? If I'd have done that earlier, then things could have been sorted before extra time. So actually, this game I'm going to go more positive. But you know what? It's the hope that kills you in it.
It is the hope that kills you. It's the hope that kills you because we've all got through it and gone, and then you can't help but try and be positive and look for the positives in it. You go, well, this is the spark. Something's happened. This is a moment. You look back on moments like this in tournaments, and it starts to tell you that narrative. But talking of subs, I quite like the fact that even Southgate referenced it that when he brought Ivan Toney on, and even Ivan Toney was like, "Are you taking the piss?"
I know.
2 minutes. Even when your own players.
It did look like that, didn't it?
No, I mean, you can't blame him. Like, you know, you can't have 2 minutes. Like, specifically, I think that was his first 2 minutes of the tournament. Like, how can you give the lad 2 minutes to go on and change a game when the country's in desperate need of a goal? Like, talk about pressure, honestly. Like, you know, I mean, I always remember when we did that with Rashford against Iceland. We brought him on. I think he was like 18, 19 years old. His first ever tournament. They brought him on with 5 minutes to go to try and save the game. And I thought, what's he going to do in 5 minutes? Like, you talk about pressure. I mean, albeit, you know, he's played his part in the second goal, but if I were him, I'd be going like, really? Like, you know, like, well, what's the point now? You should have brought me on 10, 15 minutes ago when I could have made an impact. Because if that goes horribly wrong, then everyone's going to go, oh, well, why did he bring on Toney with like 90 seconds left of the game when they could, you know, but that now he's obviously, you know, impacted. We got the goal, and everyone will be going, oh, well, Southgate made the right choice. That's what some people will say that. And I'm like, well, it's not, because he's got away with it. We've had to rely on a world-class finish to get us back in the game. And that's the thing. Like Jude Bellingham, he could probably try that another, you know, maybe 50 times, might score a few more of them, but it's a difficult skill to do. And that's what it took. And we knew it would take one moment of quality, but that's the thing. You've had to rely on a real superstar to get us out of trouble. And yeah, that just shows how out for depth he was of it. And that's the thing. The substitutes have annoyed me so much. I mean, like Mainu, like, yeah, he was probably our best player maybe yesterday, I thought, until the moment he got taken off. He just showed no fear. He just kept running at people, trying to be positive, trying to take shots. That's the thing. I swear at times we were trying to walk the ball into the net. And I don't know if it was like a little game they were trying in that, but every time he kept going, shoot. It's like it's Michael Owen sort of terms. If you don't shoot, you don't score. So like honestly, like it really is plain and simple. So that's the thing. Fair play to the lad for really giving it a go. When the country's the team were under such huge pressure. And again, he's one of those who's got to start the next game. Carl Palmer's got to start for me. And again, Anthony Gordon didn't even get a look in. And I'm like, again, why would he not brought on at all? I mean, he's shown he's got a lot of talent in this side. So why not give him the chance? He's just got, that's the thing. With that shape he finished in, I think the first period of extra time, that's what he should have stuck with for probably the rest of the game. Because I think that's if he starts with that, the next, for the Swiss game, then I think we might be a bit more positive. I mean, we can maybe look forward to it a little bit more. But you can tell he'll be stuck in his own ways. He'll be so stubborn and he'll go back to what he thinks is right. And then when we get in trouble again, he'll be relying on another 90th minute equaliser. And it won't happen. That's the thing. You'll get lucky once in this tournament like that. And I think that's the thing. We've used our chance now. We don't sew up now these games, then we're done for.
This is it. They've got to step up. And those, as you said, like them coming off the bench, and Tony's only 2 minutes of the whole tournament as well. It's not like he'd sort of brought him on before. It just seems in every game he's kind of like, oh yeah, you'll do. I'll bring you on now. Like I don't think there's any kind of even thought to the sort of sub perspective. And I mean, speaking of massive England fans, Aled's in the chat. Welcome to He was obviously had a rough afternoon yesterday with the rest of us. Yeah, it's maddening, isn't it? Because it's just seeing the same thing over and over again, and can't
tickled me that.
Welcome, of course.
Has anyone got this TV? Oh, hi, Jen.
Hello,
Has
Jen.
anyone got the TV on in the background with this Portugal game on?
Yeah.
I've got it on site. We're a bit behind.
Who's the pundit that's sitting next to Micah?
I think it's Jose Fonte, isn't it?
Oh, is it?
Yeah, the one with the glasses. I think it's Fonte.
Oh, okay.
I was wondering that as well.
Yeah, I had a rumour he might be. This is going to lower league. I had a rumour he might be going into Southampton as a coach or something, isn't he? He's been doing the badges or something. Yeah, they were talking about him down here the other day. So he may be coming back.
He would be amazing in fantasy football.
Oh, it's something else.
Every season.
They picked him up in League One, I think, as well. It's crazy. He was a great signing for them. There we go. Jose Fonte not available, Gareth Southgate, unfortunately, for the weekend. So you'll have to. But he didn't pick Jared Branthwaite, did he, Rebecca? So he wouldn't have been taking Jose Fonte.
I still question that decision of not taking Jared. I mean, we're struggling on the left, so why not have a left-footed centre back to call on? I mean, it's one of them. You look at where Everton finished in the league with everything that happened with us. Jared still had some of the best stats, and I think like him and Tarkowski were two of they were the best English defenders in the league. And for like Jared to not even get picked, it's just infuriating because we are down a left back. Like, yeah, Jared isn't a left back, but we did see us go to like a bit more of a back three with the like two wingers more. So it's one of them to have Jared sitting in towards the left. At least then with Trippier being out of position, we did have someone for him to fall back onto. So it's one of them. It's like, yeah, Trippier has he's put a shift in, and like fair play to him for playing out of position. I mean, like you can see him struggle sometimes when he's got to cut in on the left and things like that. But it's one of them where, and I will keep arguing this, Jared Branthwaite would have been a saviour for us in terms of if we were to have him in defence, because it also seems to be with like the corners and stuff, where's the height in the box? Because I feel like we're lacking that quite a bit. But then you've got a 6'5" unit, Jared Branthwaite, in there. You can fire balls from here, there, and everywhere, and he'll try and put like his head on it. So it's one of them. It's like we are missing an integral player in Jared. Yes, I am biased with him being an Everton player, but I think a lot are saying at this point we are missing a left-footed centre back.
We're missing a lot of things. Any left foot whatsoever seems to be, apart from we've got Foden and Saka, but they're all over the other. They're all wandering inside all the time, and Palmer as well. So yeah, but it's frustrating. I mean, at least the Bellingham moment's given us because let's be honest, it would have been horrendous today. The media today, it would have been Iceland Part 2, wouldn't it? The whole thing would have kicked off. The Inquisition, it would have been bonkers. I can now tell my story of the amazing thing that happened at the pub when Jude Bellingham scored, which was amazing. Obviously, we were the same as everybody else. Everyone was pretty negative. Goal goes in. Everyone's going ballistic. We're on a bench, banging the bench, etc. And all afternoon, this guy had been in the pub with a dog that I can only describe as the size of a small horse, like a small Shetland pony, big fluffy Dulux dog. And he'd been sort of like quite attracted to my mate through the entire thing. Big slobbery dog as well, was he's trying to watch the football and his dog's coming over. Jude Bellingham scores, my mate jumps up, whatever, turns around, dog licks him square in the face. this massive Shetland pony dog. And I just, it's brilliant. Bellingham scored, was still in the Euros. My mate's covered in dog slobber. Just brilliant. What a moment.
You didn't try licking him back, did you?
Celebrate with a dog.
yeah, then he disappeared for 20 minutes with a dog. I don't know what happened, but happy days. All's well that ends well because we won. We're in to play the Swiss on Saturday. Saturday is a long way away, so they've got enough time surely to prepare. Is there any hope this is gonna? Are we just in fingers crossed mode, or do we have any hope that that's going to be the difference? That Bellingham producing that moment is going to unite them, and suddenly something different is going to happen?
I don't even think it's about them being united, because I feel like they are united already. I feel like it's the way they're being told to play. And for me at the moment, very much fingers crossed.
I think it's a fingers crossed. Alid says, personally would have thought Wharton would have been picked ahead of players like Mainu. To be fair, I think Mainu's done well. He's done well. It's nothing against Wharton, I think, and I'm obviously biased because he's my star boy, but
he's a Stockport boy.
And he's your star boy, yeah.
I think we just got to go with fingers crossed, because it must frustrate the players when they get the ball and they're probably thinking to themselves, I know what I'm capable of. I've done it in the Premier League all season, but I've been told not to play like that. But sometimes you've just got in those situations when you go a goal down, even if it is in the first half, sometimes you've got to go, look, give me the ball and let me fucking run at them. It's like, because, that's the thing, just show a bit of positivity. We know these players are good at the ball. I mean, Phil Foden for Manchester City, he's one of the best players in the Premier League. And I've barely noticed him until he came off yesterday. That's the thing. And again, but I think people probably got to look at it and think that he went to go home, obviously, to have his, had a third baby, wasn't it? And he's probably missed a bit of training as well. And his head's probably all over the place and that, with raw emotions going on. And you think, is he really in the best place to be starting the last 16 of the European Championships, when you've got players like, Cole Palmer and Eze and all that could start, and he can bring him on maybe second half or we need a goal. I just thought they should. I looked at the team lineup and already I was fuming. So I was like, look, right, okay, put Mainu in. That's good. But I'm going, there's at least 2 or 3 of those I still would be putting in. And they didn't get a look until the last 10 minutes. So, yeah, it depends what England side turn up, because they could go and, for all we know, go and put a hell of a performance, go and win this game 2 or 3-0, and then suddenly everyone's dreaming of us winning the Euros again. The thing is, you've got to look at it and think, we have got the best opportunity. We keep saying this at the moment in most tournaments. We probably think we won't get a better opportunity because we're in a good half of the draw. Again, I don't think it can't happen the 2 or 3 times in a row where we've been in the best half of the draw, where you're looking at those sides, you're thinking, on paper, the Netherlands are probably the real, scary ones, if you like. But even then, they haven't reached the heights. And you think, on paper, should be winning this game comfortably. But to be fair to the Swiss, they've been absolutely excellent. And I do fancy them to beat us. At the moment, I think they're going to go into the game, maybe slight favourites. I really do. Because unless, we can change things overnight, change the philosophy, which I highly doubt is going to happen, then again, I can see, them putting a result out of the bag. I really just can at the moment. So it is a case of fingers crossed rather than confidence going into Saturday, that's for sure.
They're a solid, experienced tournament team as well, the Swiss. I mean, they beat France last tournament round, didn't they, last Euros? And they're always there and thereabouts. No one ever talks about them. They always get out the groups, always in the kind of knockouts, and they are difficult. No one ever kind of puts the Swiss away pretty easily. So I think it's going to be a real shock, because he's going to do the same thing. Like you were saying, with people running at people. I mean, it's the best way to get through a team that sit deep, is because you have to open the space, or you have to commit somebody. And if you commit someone running at them, then that's when the gaps open up. But passing around in front of them is just kind of getting us nowhere. And it just seems, what we said with the subs, we made 2 and then we got 2 extra time. We scored, and you're thinking Slovakia have got to come out. This is perfect for Ollie Watkins. Ollie Watkins loves to run channels, balls over the tops. They're going to come onto us. It will stretch the play and go the other way. And I understood the Conor Gallagher one in this kind of extent, but pushing us all back, and it's all if you're going to sit deep, you've got to have that counter-attacking threat. And I know Tony was up there, but I'd have, or Anthony Gordon, for example, stretch the play, someone with the pace. And everything is, it's safety first again, isn't it? When you kind of get in that position. We haven't even seen that yet, where we've gone ahead and we've tried to sit, which we will inevitably do if we get ahead against the Swiss. The same thing will happen if somehow we manage to score a goal. But yeah, we shall.
I feel like we just need to stop doing that whole score a goal and or take a lead and then sit back, because that's just so negative and it invites the pressure, it invites the mistakes. So just keep the tempo high.
Go and blow them away. It's what the best teams in English football have done over the past few years. They're the ones that go 1-0 up and then they get the foot on the throat and they don't let go. Liverpool and City 2-3 and the game's then done, and then you can manage it from that perspective.
Let the players go and enjoy it.
Yeah.
It can't be fun to be in just playing a negative defensive game. Can't be.
No,
it's
not with the
biggest mistake. It's the biggest mistake Southgate's made in the last 2 tournaments. Like the 2 biggest games in our recent history. Croatia, we scored early on, decided we'll sit back. Obviously we should have taken it in that first half. We should have probably been 2 or 3 up. That second half, we tried to do sitting back, and Croatia just thought, thank you very much. We'll take this opportunity with open arms. And the same thing with the Italy game, in the final, scored early and then decided to sit back. And you think these games, especially the Italy one as well, where obviously it's in our own stadium in front of a big crowd. They're expected, look, go and win this game. You can get this done in the first half, 2 or 3-0, and then you're coming back from that. But the longer you left them in the game, you knew they were a threat from set pieces. And this is the problem. You think, look, what is it about us that when we score, we have to sit back? And we've got players that are capable of finishing games off early. I was like, I don't understand the thinking behind it. I get it. People don't want to make a mistake, but the thing is, though, yesterday proved it doesn't matter how safe you are playing. You're still open to conceding a goal, because obviously Slovakia, the goal they scored was actually a well-worked goal. And that's the thing. They will find the gaps. So there's no point trying to sit back against those sort of teams, because if we can't do it against those sort of teams, how do you think we're going to come up when we come up against a Spain or a Germany or a France? They'll rip us to pieces. So that's those sort of games you've got to adapt. And I think this is the sort of game against Switzerland where they need to adapt, because they've got more of an attacking threat. They've got the likes of Xhaka, got the likes of Shaqiri. They've got some good talent in that side, Switzerland. And like you say, they really are a threat. In most tournaments, they're always in and around there, but just never quite get over the line. And who knows, this might be their year where they do get over the line. So we've really got to turn up.
Yeah, it's definitely... Sorry, carry on, Rebecca.
I thought that we bounced back from the group stage. It was right, we've just gone through the motions in the group stage, and then I thought, right, we get to the round of 16, it's going to hit them that we are actually in the Euros. We have got through to the knockout stage, and this is when they start. So I did think that there would be a change, because we have seen that in previous ones. I mean, the last Euros, we just sort of went through the motions in the group stage, and then we did start performing a bit better throughout. And it's just one of them, we just need to go for it. Because it's in the group stage matches, we were putting too much pressure on a defence that is not the strongest defence England have had. And then you're putting pressure on Pickford. And Pickford is, as we said, a world-class goalkeeper, but he can lose his head at times. And you don't want him to start screaming at him too much and things like that. Because for a few players, I think I've said that it is a bit annoying playing in front of Pickford because of how vocal he is. And I think the commentators spoke about that last night. But it's one of them, if you're inviting the pressure, you might as well just hand them a goal at this point in some cases, because that is how England are playing. But yeah, I think, as we've been saying, Saturday it will just be a go into the match with your fingers crossed at the end of the day, because, I mean, any England can turn up if we've got, you look at the world-class players we've got, how they can be playing the way they are, I do not know. So it's one of them, as long as the England that we all know and love turn up, then I think that we can do something. But I think this match can be the turning point for us in terms of if we come and perform. But if we don't, then we might as well pack our bags and go home at this rate, because, well, as you two have both said, the new phrase of we'll have our asses handed to us.
This is it. This is a great saying. They've got to go and go out trying to do the right thing. Go out trying to, and hopefully this is the thing that's scared the life out of them, with the fact that they've all been panicking a couple of minutes ago. Oh my God, we're going to get, oh my God, all the pressure's kind of on. And then they feel that maybe they can take it in their hands. But the atmosphere is not the same, is it? The last 2 tournaments, there was kind of that connection. And you could kind of see in some of the comments Jude Bellingham was making afterwards, is they've almost gone for this siege mentality this time, and they're like, well, everyone's against us, which can work. That can work too, but they feel everyone is on them at their backs, and it's tough if it comes off and that works for the players and it gets them to sort of do it. But I don't think that's what Southgate wants. I think he's still fighting against it, where the players would kind of be like, what's the wrestling term? Turn heel, isn't it? Sometimes, like, become the bad guy and just say screw it. But if it's effective and we win the title, everyone's going to love you afterwards. So everyone loves a bad guy, really. That's what they say. So it's going to be that old case, I think. But well, we'll see. England have got a chance. They're still in it. The Belgians aren't in it. The Italians aren't in it. Slovenia are having a right bloody go against Portugal. Who knows what's going to go on? But anything else on England before we go to other matches in Euros? And we're just all done with it, aren't we?
Yeah. Ask us again after Saturday, and then I think we'll be able to give you a better answer in here.
Yeah. I said before that I would struggle to be excited about England at the Euros, and before the tournament even started. And I think that's because of the usual way that Southgate plays negative football, and I still feel the same way now. Like, I watch it because I enjoy watching football, but I've not enjoyed any of it. So yeah, just fucking book your ideas up, Gaza.
We'll get you on a direct line, Claire, before Gareth, an hour with Claire, and it'll be completely different. Completely different come the come the tournament. On this question of you, Claire, you finding, because obviously, as we well know, you had a very successful season, a club season this season with Stockport. Are you finding that's making any impact to you because you've enjoyed the football and what you've been trying to do at club level, and then you'll come into international and going, or is it just a case of it's completely separate and it's just trash what you're watching?
It is completely separate. Like, for me, even though we had such a successful season, like, it was quite draining. Like, when it finished, you were like, and breathe. Like, especially towards the end, where not like really at the end, but just a few games before, where you're like, okay, we're competing for the title, like, let's go and get the title. And then we'd won the title, and it was kind of just like, and then the season finished, and it was kind of like, oh, I need a break. Like, and I can genuinely say I've enjoyed that break. I'm looking forward to getting back next month, don't get me wrong, but I've enjoyed the break. But I feel like international football, to me anyway, has always been a completely separate thing to going and watching my club, because you can't compare it. It's so incomparable. The difference in players, the difference in standards, like, generally, not right now, is a world apart from what I see. And I enjoy watching such world-class players. Like, I enjoy watching every team. And I'll probably be on my own in saying it, I've always been a fan of the German national team.
To be honest, in recent years, I've quite liked some of their, not
Exactly, just in recent years.
Got some fantastic kits as well, the Germans, to be fair. Fantastic kits.
Yeah. Club over country for me, though. Like, definitely club over country, but I generally enjoy watching England. Friendlies, I'll be honest, I barely ever bother with. Like, I barely ever watch them. But the big tournaments, like, I do get into them. Like, I probably watch most of it. I work at home, sit here on my own. It's just done in the background while I'm working. But yeah, I just don't feel the same excitement anywhere near.
It is different, isn't it? Also, well, welcome, Mr. Lugan. All week, everybody says, don't ask how late he is. Are you on time? As a Gareth Southgate substitute, this would be fine.
No, he's early as a sub.
I was going to say, we're finishing now. You've done the Ivan Toney. We're on for 2 minutes. Everyone's in the club saying 100% agree, club over country for treaty, and then saying Mr. Luke says club over country. I am club over country, but I think Probably because, say, obviously being a Manchester United fan who doesn't live around a load of Manchester United fans, I don't have that same community stuff that you guys get when you get that celebratory or that win. It's always quite independent for me. It's like close with like my family and United fans and not. And obviously, I've been fortunate enough to win it all with United. The Champions League is something for me. I'll never, ever, those moments will never, ever leave me. And I just feel like the thing that I love about it is everybody comes together. I just want to see that moment where the whole country comes together in a moment of jubilation and excitement and the celebrations after it more than so the football. And I think that's the thing I want the most out of it rather than just, that we can get something positive because there's so much crap that's going on generally at the moment. Everybody's struggling with lots of different things. And I mean, we saw it 4 years ago in the Euros, whenever it was. The atmosphere was incredible, wasn't it? Just generally just sort of walking around, the buzz, the sort of excitement. I think that's what's disappointing this time around because it's not the same. It's miles off where it is. And that's what I want is just that absolute feeling of we're all in it together and something's positive and it's just taken us away from all the other nonsense. And then say at the same time we've got a general election, all this other stuff going on and chaos all over the world. It's a shame it can't be that way. Maybe it still can, a result on Saturday and maybe it starts to turn. But
I
think the trouble is with all, like you look at the last Euros, obviously we're talking about big statements and obviously we haven't had a big statement win. But obviously in that last Euros, when we beat Germany, that was a massive step forward for us because it was I think it was the first time we beat them in a knockout stage since '66. And then everyone, you could see the emotion of the stadium. Like it's just everyone was lifted by it. And that was like the moment where you thought, yeah, we're all in this together now. We can do this. And I remember being at the semi-final at Wembley. It was the most unbelievable experience you could imagine. And everyone was so far behind it. I had a good view. Everyone's hugging each other, even though obviously we were still technically meant to be social distancing. We're all, going absolutely crazy. Like the atmosphere was absolutely mental. Even but outside the stadium. And that's the thing, like you say, it hasn't had that same feel. I mean, I'm quite lucky because I'm going out to Germany at the weekend, because I've got tickets for one of the quarterfinal matches. The only problem I've got is that the England game's at 5:00 and my game's at 8:00, so I'm going to have to try and find somewhere to watch it. But that's the thing. I'd be quite interested to see how the England fans have taken it to the atmosphere out there. A lot of them said it's been very good, to be fair. But I think it's always different, though, when it's in your own country. And obviously we had that in the last Euros. So, but the thing is, everyone loves travelling abroad and that. And obviously, Germany not being far away for us, a lot of England fans will go out there. And I'm quite looking forward to seeing it firsthand to see what it's actually like out there. But I dare say it won't reach the same standards as it did for the last Euros.
Sorry, Ben. I was just going to say that's our Ben making the absolute most of this pre-season break.
Yeah, that's 100% it. But that's what you were saying, though. It's like, I think club football has been so draining this year. I mean, I've done over 60 games this year, traveling home and away, traveling to places like Torquay, Coventry, Ipswich, all these places. And you think, like, I was a bit like you, Claire. I was very glad for a break because it had felt like it'd been absolutely non-stop. And
it must be so different for you as well, though, because you're not just, I mean, I know you are a fan, but you're not just watching it as a fan, you're working at it as well.
Yeah.
So that's
it does, because I just think about all the constant interviews I've had to do over the time and listen, to our gaffer and everything like that, and probably asking him the same stuff, and he probably gives me the same responses back. And like, it can be draining, but that's the thing. But that's why I enjoy it. But that's the thing. I do feel like I've had a break from it all. That's the thing. I've had a nice couple of nice trips away. And you know what? I'm actually only for a couple of days ago, it was actually the first time I felt really excited for the season to start now. Because that's the thing. You've
got something else to be excited about before the season.
Well, exactly. That's the thing. I have to miss our first pre-season game on Saturday, so they're never going to cope without me.
Not about that. I'm on about the end of the month.
Oh yes, of course. Yeah, of course. Yeah, I haven't told him about that one yet, so I'm going to tell them when I said I'm going out with a rowdy lot in Manchester. They'll be thinking you missed another game.
That's it. The main party of the summer. Never mind the Euros party.
I'll get the sun shirt out in Manchester. See how long it takes me before I get beaten up over there.
That's just fact,
Oh dear. Mr. Luke says a last-minute winner for me, incoming overhead kick. Like our super Jude Bellingham. But talking of super people, Shah is in the chat as well. Very in Shah. Hope you're good. What a team. Lovely to see Shah. She says she's in the kitchen while typing it. Gary says this show has inspired me. Yeah.
Go on, Gary.
Harry Glitter or whoever it was up in the chat. Fair play, Shah. Fair play. Alid says he is equally club and country. Equally club and country.
What's that flag? Poland?
That's the black flag at Silverstone, isn't it? That, Rebecca. That's pull into the pitch. Your race is done.
That red, white, red. Is that not Poland?
Is it? Yeah, on the StreamYard, it's coming up as just pure black flag, like a Grand Prix flag. Oh, there we go. There must be a mix. So there we go. Yeah, England will see. England will see. But of course, there are other teams. There are other teams in the tournament, and I'll come because I know Rebecca, you want to talk particularly about probably the side that have impressed everyone the most, the Spanish. El España. Talk to us about Spain versus Georgia and how they destroyed Georgia's hearts.
I know, it was heartbreaking for Georgia. I mean, like, to get through to the round of 16, round of applause to them. I do like the fact that they did score without getting a shot on target. Like, that stat, it always makes me laugh when, like, it's an own goal. But yeah, another one to add to the never-ending tally of own goals this tournament. I don't know, are we up to like 8, 9, I think now? It just seems to be never-ending. But yeah, Spain, they proved why they're ones to watch and why they are a favourite in that match. I mean, I think going into the match, I think everyone thought it was going to not be easy for Spain, but you knew that Spain were the favourites. But, I mean, Georgia did put a shift in. They did take an early lead, even though it was an own goal. But, I mean, Spain were just Spain. I don't even know how to describe them. To say that they've got 4 different goal scorers on the sheet, it just proves that they've got talent coming from everywhere. And having a 16-year-old in the side of Lamine Yamal, yeah. I mean, he fits in that side so well. You wouldn't know he's 16 for how talented he is. He's such a mature player for his age, and he's one of them where you see him and you're just like, yeah. And then it's like when you looked at Spain's chances, 35 shots and 13 on target, I'd love for us to be getting them sort of numbers if we could. But, I mean, Spain is just like an example of what I would want England to try and do. They just keep pressing, just keep pushing. And the energy that they put into games, you're not sat there bored. You're like, as a neutral, you sat there enjoying a match. And I know it's like different with England being our team and everything, but you just want to sit there and enjoy it. And I know, like, going back to what we're all saying about club, I mean, I went through, I think it was 3 months without Everton winning a match, and I found that more enjoyable than I have watching England at times at the moment. And we didn't win for 3 months. It's like, put that into perspective. But yeah, being able to watch the Spain and just see how they're just an incredible side. And yeah, I think they are going to be one if we face them. Well done, Spain.
They were such a good, they've got so many threats, to be fair, and they're very different from the traditional Spanish team that we remember when they were dominant, when it was that tiki-taka style and whatever. I love the fact they've got this counter-attacking threat as now with Nico Williams down the left and Lamine Yamal. They've got so many different ways that they can win a football match. And then while they're all playing they play so quickly as well. I love the tempo. And then you've just got Rodri. Rodri sat there as like the controlling force. And the goal he scored the other night to equalise, it's just clutch.
Sorry, I've just put my face to the TV, and a Portugal, I don't know who it is, a Portugal player kicks the ball, went to hoof it back. It bounded off one of the Portugal players and deflected literally to another one, and he just stood there with his head in his hands.
To be fair, when Rebecca started there, Slovenia went through on goal, and I was about to, but the bloke absolutely scuffed the shot by a mile. Went more closer to the corner flag when he got through. But
my mum and dad are in Malta at the minute, and they said that yesterday they were watching the Spain-Georgia match on the TV at the bar, and there was a group of quite a few Georgian girls there. And my stepdad said, you have never seen anything like their screams when they went 1-0 up. He was like, Claire, like, I'm going to describe it like you times like 20. I was like, oh God. But how nice must it have been for them to go 1-0 up? Like,
yeah, I'm
I
happy
know
they
they
did.
probably didn't expect to win. Like, let's be honest. They like Scotland, they didn't expect to do anything. They just enjoy the ride. But it must have been some feeling when they went 1-0 up, even though it wasn't an own goal.
Yeah.
You forget these nations like Georgia, never been to a competition, never been to, then to get through the group, to get to a knockout, and then to score first against Spain. Like, it's beyond their wildest dreams, realistically, you know.
Yeah.
And this is their once in a lifetime kind of moment that they're living for. I always remember I watched an England game years and years ago. We played Macedonia down at St Mary's at the Southampton ground. I think it was when Wembley was being rebuilt and they moved it around all the stadiums in the UK. And we drew 2-2. David Seaman got lobbed from a corner. And I remember I went to go and get a drink in the petrol station afterwards. This Macedonian bloke came waving his flag in our face, was like, ah, and it was, and you could just tell for them that was like the biggest thing that had ever happened there. And then so you just kind of went, fair play, enjoy it. You know, yeah.
I tell you, I thought was really good that Fabian Ruiz. I've just obviously my best Spanish accent, but
Fabian Ruiz.
I thought he was fantastic. I thought he basically controlled the game.
He's a really clever player alongside Rodri in that midfield. And then they've got Flair off of it as well. So as you said, Rebecca, 4 different goal scorers, and there were some good goals in that as well. Williams is a joke on the left-hand side. What do we reckon? What do you reckon, Ben? Spain versus Germany looks a bit tasty though in the quarterfinals, doesn't it?
It's one you probably hoped, or maybe later on in the tournament a little bit, maybe for a semi-final, or even the potential of the final. But obviously, the way the groups have worked and the results have worked, obviously it has to happen now. They were going to have to play probably each other at some point, but this is probably between, I would probably say, the 2 technically best sides at the tournament so far. I mean, Germany haven't exactly set the world alight, but the fact is, you always fancy them because it's their tournament. They're going to have a massive fan base behind them. And, you know, the noise when they scored their goals the other night was actually incredible against Denmark, you know, because they did obviously ride the luck a little, obviously, with the couple of minutes of drama with the disallowed goal for Denmark and then the penalty at the other end. So maybe on another night that goes in Denmark's favour, but obviously it didn't. So, but yeah, Spain, I think looking at it, I think judging from how they've played so far, you do say that it's probably for them to lose, to be fair, because like the fluidity they've played with has been, you know, outstanding. As Rebecca said, you know, their pressing has been, you know, excellent, I found. And it's like you just look, you're watching sometimes these other teams, you're just going, why are we not doing that? It's like it's not like a lot of the players do it. Even Georgia, and that's the thing. Georgia will come out with nothing but respect from this tournament for not only, you know, for getting to the last 16, but for the way they played. It wasn't a case of they'll get lucky, they'll wait for one chance and everything like that. They was at the Portugal game the other night. They were so enjoyed. I was enjoying watching them, like, because, you know, I don't think any of their players played like a really good standard, but, you know, they had that heart and desire, and you could tell that this was the biggest, you know, time in the, you know, in their national football history. And, you know, for the scenes you saw, you know, when the final whistle went for them, it was absolutely incredible. And it's exactly what we love to see at the Euros. You know, we always have a surprise package every sort of tournament, I feel, because, you know, the last one, I guess, Denmark for getting to the semi-final. You know, that they had Wales and Iceland in, you know, 2016. Yeah, Turkey in 2008 when they got to the semi-final. There's always a surprise package, and, you know, obviously they have a surprise package, but you've still got the likes of Romania and Austria in there. Still could do quite well. So that's the thing. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be tougher for Spain either way. It's going to be. I think it could potentially have the you know, the feeling of what the France and Belgium gave us like today. I think it could be very cagey because, you know, but the way both teams play, they might not want to go out, you know, and make a mistake. But again, it could well be a 3 or a 4 or we'd love that to happen, obviously. But yeah, it'd be a case of seeing the night. But yeah, Spain have got such good young talent going in there at the moment, alongside some good experience, the likes of Carvajal and Rodri. And yeah, I probably would say they're probably going into it the slight favourites for that one.
Yeah, you hope they'll still be able to be expansive despite it's going to be tight and you still see some quality football. But end of tournaments are always just nervy. And I'll tell you what, I am enjoying this old Slovenian performance here, though. I think, to quote Chris Kamara, the defending like beavers, Jeff. They're literally throwing their bodies on the line.
That's a point about that.
I'm appreciating it. Defending like beavers. We'll see when this goes out. They'll have lost 4-0 or something. Get crucified.
I know, yeah. think Germany are going to win.
No, I can see by your head show you agree with that.
I think it's like Ben said as well. They've got the home support, and like that support is so loud. Like it could. I mean, it shouldn't put off other players, but there's no doubting it would do a little bit, surely, because they're only human. Good old Tony Cruz is gonna absolutely like pelt all the Spaniards away.
It's going to pelt the Spaniards away. Just pelt them away. Musiala's going to dance around them, and yeah, they're going to. I
was sat there like, what's that on my arm? And then I was like, oh yeah, I've got a tattoo.
Who's drawn on my arm? When did that happen?
I was like, oh my god, is that a spider?
Who put that there?
Honestly, I need help.
Yeah, you can't rule the Germans out at home in the tournament, and they've also, because they've had a couple of really bad tournaments where they got knocked out of the group stage, and they've got that feel, I think, around their country a bit like what we had in 2018 when we went in with no expectation, and then all of a sudden the team started to play reasonably well and things started coming together, some exciting new players, you know, amongst the experience of your Tony Cruz, etc. So as Simon says, their manager's got a point to prove. You know, they've got a good manager. Nagelsmann is a good manager, and seems to have them doing something. So I'm quite intrigued for that one, just to see what's going to happen. I like the fact it's over the other side of the draw. Not that we're probably going to have to worry about who to face in the final, but bigger fish to worry about first before we think about any of that. But yeah, so they're doing quite well. And then obviously, anybody catch the Belgium-France game this afternoon?
No.
I did catch glimpses of it, sort of had it on the background and that, but obviously, again, that's probably was quite a cagey affair, wasn't it? You know, and obviously it's sort of deflected goal that's won it for them. And then again, you always felt France would probably win that game one way or the other, you know, just because the team they've got on paper. And it's no disrespect to Belgium, but the trouble is Belgium, I think their golden generation is sort of dipping now. I think like they do rely a lot on Kevin De Bruyne. You know, the days of Hazard, Witsel, Fellaini, all these players, you know, they've done it for them at previous tournaments, have sort of gone now a little bit for them. So, yeah, I mean, it wasn't a big surprise at all, but you just thought that there might be one moment, you know, and that's the thing, if Belgium had gone and won that, then the tournament does start to open up and you think, hang on, we do actually have a genuine chance. I mean, France, that's the thing, on paper, they should be the favourites, to be fair. I've always said that because of the talent, the depth they've got in that squad. But yeah, that's the thing. I probably do fancy them to get to the final. To be honest, you just always had that feeling you can never write them off. They've been in the last two World Cup finals, haven't they? And it's like, you know, they've got the talent, they've got the manager that's been there and done it. So yeah, it was a struggle for them, but then again, that's what the best teams do. They find a way to win, and that's one of those games for them, I think, today.
It's funny because France have been, in a way, they've kind of been a lot like us this tournament. So much quality, not played that exciting. All their goals they haven't scored an open play goal. It hasn't been an own goal, I think, and they've struggled. But because they've done it in the past, and because we know they've got tournament pedigree, everyone's like, well, they're gonna, you know, they're just getting the job done. Obviously, the narrative for us is like completely different. Yeah, the bits that I watched, Belgium were their biggest threat was Jeremy Doku. Every time Doku got it, but it was a little bit like give it to the show pony and hope that you can kind of dribble it around 3-4 players. That was the only way something was going to happen. They're Lukaku's on his kind of last legs, and Saliba had him in his pocket all day long. He wouldn't leave him alone, and Lukaku's never been the greatest hold-up player with a defender really tight, who's strong like that. De Bruyne is a quality top-class player. Interested to see what happens with him now, though, because they're talking about whether he's going to stay at City or whether a move comes in. I think he's been waiting for after the Euros, so that next couple of weeks could be interesting, what happens with Kevin De Bruyne. So, yeah, Belgium. Yeah, I agree the same. Simon says here, how on earth are Belgium still ranked third in the world? Because the FIFA World Ranking is a joke. It's the only way to describe
Don't miss your words, Sam.
Yeah, it's a joke. I don't know how it works. I've never understood how it works, but you know, it's just some guy in a room just going, "Yeah, Belgium, why not? They sound good to me. They'll be third." You know, We shall see. So, what was the other game? So we've got Portugal, Slovenia. There's 2 more games tomorrow, isn't there? Austria, Turkey, Netherlands versus Romania. We'll touch quickly. And Austria have been quite impressive so far this tournament. I think they've become like the dark horses, but there's always one that's a dark horse that then falls before a bit later. And I kind of hope for their sake that they don't, and then they can see it through. So they've been better than Turkey so far. So, do you think Austria will do Turkey, or do you think the Turks? It's time for the Turks. What do you reckon, Rebecca? Austria or Turkey? Where's your loyalties lie?
They're lying with Austria. It will be interesting. I think it is going to be an interesting watch whether like you just don't know with them 2 teams, because it's like not one that you expect in like this round. I don't think so. It's like it is going to be an interesting watch, but I do think Austria are just gonna take it.
Gonna do that bit. And so I thought I was being fairly, on the fence about the FIFA rankings, and so is Mr. Luke with his opinion that the FIFA rankings are proper crap.
FIFA like proper above board, like not corrupt in the slightest. You can't question them.
Can't imagine it. They are exactly. They are in power, and we trust in them immensely. Thank God they're in charge of the game that we love. Yeah, I think the same. I think Austria. Ben, can you see Turkey doing Austria, or do you think Austria are going to carry on this run?
I think it's got to be Austria. I think the confidence they must have now from the group stage, and they must take that in now to the last 16. I've said to a few people the other day, I fancy them to get to the semi-finals. If not, why can't they make the final? Because that's the thing. Just because of teams having the best players, in the best country, does not make them, entitled to be in that final. And that's the thing. Like, maybe I said this, for the way the tournament's been going so far, it does almost have that feel a little bit that it could be one of the lesser teams that does it. I mean, you only got to look back, obviously, 2004, Greece, getting to the final in Portugal's own backyard and going on and winning that game. You think, why can't Austria go and do that? I know, obviously, they wouldn't play Germany. That's the word. Yeah, actually, they could play Germany in the final, potentially. Who knows? I do fancy, Turkey, again, it'll be a close one, because obviously, look, these are 2 teams, that think that they've got their right to get into the quarterfinals, because it's not a David versus Goliath sort of game, and that's the thing. But Austria, I think the confidence they would have had from the group stage, they will do Turks. I think it'll be a good 2-0, I reckon. But yeah, I think Turks will give them a game in, let's say, first maybe half hour first, well, maybe in first half. But I think Austria will come through it sort of in the second half, I think. So yeah, my backings with them.
Be nice to see him have a bit of a run. As you say, I remember Greece in 2004. The headers, wasn't it? They had that one bloke who just scored a header from a free kick every game. 1-0, sit back. It's like Gareth Southgate. Gareth Southgate would love to be manager of Greece. That's right up his alley. Simon says here in the chat as well, Austria have a manager of the point of view. Of course, yes, they have Ralf Rangnick, who I know very well from his 6 months that he was with United. And to be fair, I think it was the fact that he was made an interim boss was ridiculous. I think rather than the individual himself, was that he was never going to be able to command the control of what was a complete rabble of players at that point that had thrown already 2 managers under the bus. And actually, if there's a interview that he gave about Man United almost like need open heart surgery, you can't just fix this one bit, and it's more prevalent than it's ever been. And it shows like with what's happening now. So he's a clever man, and I'm kind of happy that for him, that it's restored his reputation, because I think it was harsh what happened to him at Manchester United with the career that he's kind of had. So, and he's doing a fantastic job. And then we've got Romania versus Netherlands. Are you, Claire, Romania or Netherlands? Which side do you sit on? Do you care? Are you Romanian at heart? They're plucky. They're plucky.
Like, Netherlands are going to win, aren't they?
Don't doubt the plucky Romanians.
I don't doubt them really, but come on.
It should be, but they're another funny one, aren't they, Netherlands? They've kind of not really done a lot. They've been a bit turgid. And
they're all wacky.
They're having a lovely time.
I totally don't think they've not been anything special at all, the Netherlands. Like, sort of from what I've seen of them, I mean, don't get me wrong, they've got some good talent in that side. They've got some well-established players that play at a very good standard. But again, they've not a side that really excited me or got anyone off their seat. So there's nothing to say that Romania won't take this opportunity. They'll be looking at, rubbing their hands together, thinking we can give this a really good go. I mean, my own selfish perspective, I want an Austria-Netherlands quarterfinal because that's the game I potentially go and watch. So I don't really want to go watch Romania v Turkey potentially, but yeah, the Netherlands should really win it on paper, but I really wouldn't rule out Romania at all. I can see him getting a result, to be honest. I always said, even if the teams that get third place in that, they're here on merit. Look at Slovakia. They should have won yesterday, but they only just scraped through into the knockout stages. So they're on merit, and there's no reason they'll be thinking to themselves, look, we've got just as much chance as anyone to go and get ourselves into that last eight. So again, I think it'll be close. I don't think it'll be a one-way side at all. But again, I think Romania can do them. I really do. I hope they don't, because I want to go and watch the Netherlands. But
to be fair, you'll probably see a better game actually. If you see like a Romania Turkey, you'll have two teams that will just be like, we're going to go for this, and you're not going to get like a turgid. You might get like a 4-all. It will be the game of the European Championships history, and you'll be like, yeah, converted. You'll come back with
oh, please keep that positivity.
Romania Turkey kit.
Yeah, I've got half and half shirts or something like that for it.
I would disown you forever.
How about half and half scarf? Because I'm technically a neutral. I could probably do it for that.
Absolutely not. Chop them in half.
I've got bigger side, don't I? Well, I'm with the Romanians then.
Ugh, half and half. So I don't even get me started on a half and half scarves.
Oh dear. Well, it's still 0-0 Portugal-Slovenia, so we may have yet an upset to come.
There'll be extra time.
Portugal have got a hell of a squad as well to call upon for that extra time, but fair play. Slovenia. They're not easy to beat, see, Slovenia. This is just making us look good, isn't it? Look, not easy to do, is it, Portugal?
But then again, Spain would have found out with Georgia yesterday. Like, I mean, I know they came behind, they won the game comfortably in the end, but it does show that like none of these teams have been rollovers at all. I don't think there's been any sort of rollover game. It's been very tight games. So I mean, maybe take the Croatia-Spain game into account. That was a 3-0, wasn't it? Maybe see Germany-Scotland, but in the circumstances of Scotland being down to 10 men, it was always going to be difficult. But there's not really been many one-sided games, has there? It's been very close, in a lot of them. So yeah, I mean, I do hope Slovenia go and do it, because like, from what I've seen, obviously I've been catching a little bit glimpses of it here and there. They do seem to be right in the game. It's not been all in the edge of the box for them. They have had their chances. So, we wouldn't surprise me if they go nick one late on maybe, or even extra time.
This is it. And Bruno Fernandes needs a rest because he's played 150 games over the last 2 bloody years. So let that man have a holiday for a bit. Bigger fish to fry coming up. So yeah, we'll see. But Netherlands versus Romania, and then we get through to the quarterfinals. So there we are. I think we've covered everything. Anything else Euros related? Anything else you want to bring up that you've enjoyed, you don't enjoy, you want to see?
Get me pre-season back.
Who have we signed? Can England sign anybody? The transfer window's open. Who should we sign?
Jared.
The only good news is surely Gareth Southgate's put himself out of the running for the Man United job now. That's the only positive so far from the Euros for me.
Never say never.
Yeah, there we go. So we're a little bit of Premier League. Go on then, Rebecca. Give us our Everton update. What's going on? What's going on with your ownership? And you bought some players as well.
Yeah, I mean, we have let a few go, and it does break my heart to see Lewis Dobbin leave Everton. I mean, he's come through our academy. He spent time on loan at Derby, and I mean, he scored against Chelsea, and he's just been one of them where when we've needed him and called on him, he has been like a good youngster that we've had. So to see him go to Villa, I mean, great signing for Villa, but it is gutting to see him go. In terms of, we have now hit the PSI deadline, and there's been a lot of controversy pointed Everton's way, and there are a couple of other clubs that are involved in this where there's quite a few swaps happening, it seems, to help with the numbers and
handshake deals, I like to call them. There's handshake deals going on.
Yeah, so we're getting, I think one of the disputes is, I think we got quite a bit for Lewis Dobbin, and then some people are saying you shouldn't be and all that stuff, but it is what it is. We've kept Jared, we've kept Pickford, we've kept Onana, and we've kept Dom, which is one of the big things for us. So whether we have followed the rules, which please say we have, because I cannot do another season like that. I do not want another season like that. I mean, I don't even know. As we've all said, I've really enjoyed this break because I haven't had to focus on points deductions, getting points back, 3 months without a win, what's going on with the club. So yeah, in terms of ownership, I think we have been handed over to one of the many people that was interested in us. But there was a funny quote that I read the other day from Everton fans, and Bill Kenwright had the club for over 20 years and we never had anyone take an interest, and then now all of a sudden you see the situation we're in and how messy it is, and we've had quite a few take interest, so it's an odd situation. But I think regroup, get the new players in. I mean, we've got the return of Neil Maupay, who he's grown on me a bit with his shithousery at the moment. I mean, seeing him on Twitter,
I've seen that. It's so funny.
Seeing him on Twitter is honestly one of the highlights. So if he can put as much effort in his shithousery as he does for Everton, I think we've got a good striker to play up with Calvert-Lewin there, because honestly, but yeah, it's quite exciting. I mean, as long as Sam, you lot stay away from Jared, I'm happy, because that one. That one's annoying me a bit.
Your price is too high. It's just not fair. Lower the price. Come on, let's be fair. You can have Victor Lindelof. I'll let you have Victor Lindelof. There we go. That's a fair trade.
Is it? No, but yeah, as long as we can keep him and get another season out of him, I think that'll be a good one for us. And in terms, I feel I would have liked to see him at the Euros, but take the spotlight off him and he stays with us. He's not out there for the world to see. He's on holiday at the moment, so let's keep that as it is. But yeah, hopefully things are looking up for Everton, but we wait and see for, I think it'll be October when we find out if we've actually followed the rules this time or not. But
Rebecca, what do you do to yourself? Everton, Accrington.
Oh, I cannot pick a team at all. We go from Everton with all that, Aki getting relegated to League Two, and then we had last season where we didn't go anywhere. But can I not just have one good season, please? But even then, I can't pick an F1 team. I mean, my favourite driver's got no points so far this season, and my team's second to the bottom at Championship. So I apologise to teams that I follow, because I don't know if I'm the jinx or if it's just they just want to annoy me.
Oh no, there's Rebecca with a scarf. Oh no, in trouble. Well, here's a question for you in the chat coming in. Obviously, Ben Godfrey's gone to Atalanta. What do you think of Godfrey leaving Everton? Because it was rumoured in January, wasn't it? But they finally got it done now.
I mean, as heartbreaking as it is, I'm glad to see him go, because he is one that does need to be played, and he is a very strong centre-back. And to see him leave, it is one of them. If he gets played, then fair play to him. And it does seem to be, in terms of quite a few of the players we've sold, they do seem to be they've taken one for the team so we can keep other ones. I don't know if any other Everton fan sees it that way, but it's to help us with PSR, we are trying to do this. But I mean, he just didn't come back from his leg break against Chelsea the other season, and I feel as though with the likes of Tarkowski joining Everton, Jared returning from his loan, he just hasn't had a look in. He did fill in a few times as left back, and that does seem to be a position that we are lacking. I mean, we've only got Mikalenko and that's it. So for Godfrey to be able to come in and step in as left back, he was a really good player for us, and he will be missed at Everton. He was. I mean, you see the tackles he was throwing in when he first signed for us. He was one of our fan favourites, but it is hard to see him go, but I'm just glad he's not gone to a Premier League side. I think that would have hurt more, because I don't want to see Ben Godfrey coming up against us.
Yeah, he's left the league at least, isn't it? And I think Branthwaite's going to stay. I just think that there's no, what I'm hearing, United are kind of moving on to other targets. I think you'll be all right.
We're keeping Jared.
You'll be all right.
Have you seen that comment? I've just seen that comment in the chat. Why do we put bacon and baked cookies? What
I couldn't find a way to segue it in terms of I don't know. I'm not sure it's an answer that I want to know either, but Who knows? There we go. There obviously is one. Obviously is one around. Obviously, Ben and Claire, you are our lower league crew, and so you don't get the often chance to talk about Premier League and transfers. Does it piss you off all this stupid numbers jumping around for players that are for reserve team players, or do you just go, it's just the Premier League doing their thing and playing buggers?
Of course it is. It only gets worse, doesn't it, every single year? I mean, you know, as much as obviously I'm a big lower league fan, I mean, I've got a soft spot for Chelsea. Always have done. It was my first sort of involvement in football, and you know, looking at their transfer business so far, doesn't fill me with a lot of confidence at the moment. I mean, they've just agreed yesterday for £30 million for Dewsbury Hall from Leicester, which again doesn't really fill me with much confidence. Obviously, Ipswich have signed a Murray Hutchinson, which I think that's a good move for Hutchinson.
Really good move for Ipswich as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big move he needed in his career. And all I'm going to say is £20 million he couldn't score against Maidstone. So, but yeah, like I've always said with Chelsea, I just have no confidence in this appointment of the manager. You know, Leicester fans weren't disappointed to see him go, and you know he needs to make some big statement signings in order for us to compete for at least Europe again, because I think Chelsea need to be going back towards Europa League champion, like fourth place, just at the moment while they need to rebuild again. And I just don't think, for me, on paper, Dewsbury Hall was the sort of signing we should be making. I hope he proves me wrong, but it's
more like a wedding venue, doesn't it?
Sorry.
It sounds a bit like a wedding venue, Dewsbury Hall.
Just to see what the Dewsbury Hall.
Yeah, I know. Honestly, tell me about it. It's just, I mean, it's the Premier League, isn't it? You know, the amount of money gets thrown, but we're still sort of waiting almost for like the big statement signing, I guess, aren't we? I mean, obviously we've seen Mbappe go to Real Madrid, but that was obviously going to happen. But in terms of the Premier League, we're still sort of waiting for that big statement signing, aren't we? I mean, especially with pre-season not being too far away, I'm guessing that it's a bit like, you know, what we were saying about De Bruyne, about whether he stays at City or not. I'm guessing it's after the Euros where we might see a little bit more business and a few more bigger rumours coming in. But it's certainly an interesting one. I think it's more a case of clubs keeping hold of players at the moment rather than looking out for big transfers at this moment in time, I think.
I think they're also being, because of this regulatory period was ending at the end of June as well, they've all been trying to balance the books. So there's kind of a bit of waiting period. So you've had the stuff where Villa and Chelsea are sort of playing merry-go-round transfers with each other to try and get their figures on. And Villa had to, I think they sold Douglas Luiz to Juventus for like 50 million because they had to balance the books a bit. So I think now you'll start to, but a lot of clubs are trying to just offload, I think, before they can do anything else. Like I know United are trying to get rid of Sancho, Mason Greenwood, they've still got on the books, which they're trying to move on before it seems like they're going to do anything. And I think that seems to be a case for one or two of them. So yeah, I'm not a fan. I always like to do the business early, get them in the door, and then you know what you're starting with. But it just seems like now you've got this kind of end of the season, the transfer window's 2 weeks into the season. Don't know who your team is until you're like 3-4 games in. It's a little bit bonkers. Claire, who's your Premier League wise? Who are your favourite teams? Who do you like in the Premier League? Or do you think they're all a bunch of shit?
I'm a team tosser. I don't care. Like, I don't have a soft spot for anyone really. I suppose like Ben giving me a dirty look.
I'm sorry, no, I'm just staring at his face. I was totally out of it.
No, I don't really care about any of them, if I'm being honest. If I had to pick a team that I want to do well, it'd probably be Villa, just because they've given us a few good loan players like that, and that's the only basis of it. Like, I genuinely couldn't care less. But I do, like your question a few minutes ago about like the money in the Premier League and stuff like that, that doesn't bother me because there's more interest in that league. There's more money coming into it. So it should be, there should be more money. The money is insane, let's be honest, but it's a rich sport and the clubs at the top have got a lot of money. So it is what it is, isn't it? But no, I don't care. I very often get asked, you're a Stockport fan, but do you prefer City or United? like it's like asking me if I want to be poked in the left or the right eye. Like I hate them both.
To be fair, that's how I felt about people saying, "Do you want Liverpool or Man City to win the league?" And you're like, I'd rather they abandoned the whole game itself. No more football, I think, was a better option.
Is there a way of both losing?
Yeah, exactly. Terrific.
No, yeah, I just think football is a very rich sport, and obviously, I think there does have to be some regulations because there's so much like financial trouble in football, and I'm glad that they're looking at finances more because really they need to do all they can to keep clubs afloat, but also like further down in the leagues, like people are spending obscene amounts of money. Obviously, I have to be honest, like we've bought 2 promotions, but even our owners turned around and said like we need to be getting more sustainable now. We're gonna like go for this like amazing academy where players like Maino, they don't get missed in the hometowns because we didn't have the academy all that time in non-league. Like he wants us to pick up that ilk of player so that we can make money and sell them on to the bigger clubs, and that's essentially how he wants us to sustain the football club. So yeah, I just think you've got your teams like Southend that the transfer of ownership has still not gone through and it all seems up in the air, and you see the money problems all over the place in lower league, and I think in a lot of ways I think this new Sky deal will bring in more money for clubs, but at the same time it's a bit annoying as a fan that that's coming into place as well, because it's always kind of like been the Premier League games get moved. And even when that happened, we were all like, you're not really thinking about the fans, are you? Making Newcastle fans travel to Crystal Palace, as an example, on a Tuesday night or a Monday night. Like, they've got to get home. But now it's happening in every league. Like, all our games on the first day of the season at 5:30 because of this Sky thing. And we're getting told, games are going to get moved to Friday nights, which I don't mind. Friday night, we used to have a whole history of playing on a Friday night, but different times on a Saturday, Sunday kickoffs. Like, I just don't want that to be messed with. I'm a traditional 3 p.m. Saturday kickoff girl. Like, that's what does it for me. But at the same time, I'm glad that it's going to financially help some clubs that do struggle. So I do see both sides of it.
It's a big change, isn't it? Those days, you said for some fans, it's going to be it's kind of a necessary evil, isn't it? I suppose, because how else are you going to get the finances in with the TV deals? But doing that, and it gives, I suppose, the opportunity. The hope is maybe draws more people in, starts watching. People like to watch football on the telly, and if there's more of it available, maybe they'll start watching League One and League Two if they're not affiliated.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I struggle though, I don't know about anyone else. I really struggle to watch football on the telly. Like, half the time, like, even Stockport on the telly, if I'm not at the match for whatever reason, I can't watch it very easily. I just don't really like it the same.
Too many does,
you just don't have the atmosphere, do you? It's like when you're there and you've got everyone
being at the game, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't think you'll have a match being at a match.
Yeah.
You mentioned as well about the TV deals and that, because obviously, I think as a few people might know about the finances that got filtered down the leagues, and in the National League, obviously they've got to deal with TNT Sports, for them to broadcast games, and the money they get is virtually nothing. I think I'm pretty sure they get told. I think it's $5-6 grand for the home side, and the away team get 1,000, and you think that's nothing. It's like you're moving. Like, say, a game maybe what was going to be a 3 p.m. that's going to move to, I don't know, 5:30, where supporters might not be able to get there as easy, especially if it's like, a long distance away from everyone. That's a lot of, revenue that the home clubs miss out on. And I just don't see what the point is of it. And you're thinking like, some of that money that Sky, generates now, I guess I know the interest obviously is a lot more in the Premier Leagues. It will do, the lower you go down. But you just think to yourself, like, surely some of that money could be used to help these clubs, in like sort of the lower reaches, and really push them on, because, what are you going to do with £1,000? That won't even pay for probably the coach to get to the game. That's the thing.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I know. That's the thing. That's what that's what when we would compete against. I mean, for clubs obviously like, your Wrexhams, your Notts Counties, and that sort of, that had the money and that sort of thing, well, it didn't really matter to us. But for the lower clubs, people like us, that we were thinking, well, it's not going to do anything for us. So yeah, I don't understand the whole concept of the fact that they get these millions and billions of pounds and everything like that to broadcast Crystal Palace versus Burnley. No disrespect to both teams, by the way, but that's what happens. And you think like, club, there's some good football always down in the League One, League Two, National League, and below. And I wish the TV companies would pick up on that more. And I know they're trying to get the exposure out there, but I think more needs to be done on that, personally.
I think as well, though, at the same time, Ben, you have to strike a balance, and this is like me with my like sensible corporate crap on. You have to think, and in the nicest way possible. Do you think people would rather tune in and watch Crystal Palace v Newcastle or Maidstone v Yeovil?
Well, that's the thing. That's where it gets us.
The interest isn't the same level, but by adding more games onto the telly at different times when you've got Premier League matches on, like even if it means, for example, like I don't know, like a 2:00 kickoff on a Saturday, like. Surely, like there would be some people that just be like, "Oh, do you know what? I'm just going to watch it."
Yeah. They'll find some jump in. I think that you've got different fans from other areas that might not watch that go, okay, yeah, I'd fancy something different. But I think the problem is there's other competition for that as well, because you've got the European competitions in midweek, the Champions League, Europa League, now the Conference League. There's so many games. And the TV deals also now have picked up a lot of the European leagues, haven't they? So, I always remember watching Football Italia on a Sunday. You get like one game and there were highlights, but you can now watch like 4 or 5 Italian games if you want, German games, Spanish games, even the French leagues on TNT, I think, as well, isn't it? And to be honest, even things like Messi going to the States, people tune in to watch Inter Miami games and stuff. So there's just so much competition, and there becomes a point, how much football can you watch, I think, is part of the problem as well.
Yeah. It's a shame as well, though, because that coverage that's on TNT now, isn't it, sports, like the punditry, it's incredible. And obviously I know, like, we had him on at one point, but Aaron McLean for me is one of the best pundits. Like, you can tell that he puts a lot of work into, like, every single football team. His knowledge is exceptional. But it's not just him, like Adam Somerton, the other Adam that he does, I can't remember his name. I feel really bad now.
No, I don't get it.
Adam Virgo. Yeah, but Adam Somerton, I think, is a really good commentator. But you've got, like, Matt Smith, Becky Ives, like, I think they're really, really, really good. So it'd be nice to see their talent put to more use as well, because there is 7 days in a week, and if you're going to have an away game on a Tuesday, make it a Wednesday. Could have another game then, couldn't you?
Could do.
I think the big problem as well we always found was, we talk about the TV deals, the FA Cup was a big one, because from our perspective, the fact that we missed out, on a lot of money when we got Steve. Obviously, I know on paper it doesn't look like the most enticing game, but it was the insult of the games they picked over us, and it's no disrespect to the teams, but Crystal Palace versus Everton, we can watch that on Saturday and Sunday, Super Sunday.
And that's it with the FA Cup.
I wouldn't want to watch Everton and Crystal Palace. I don't want to watch us and Palace.
It's true though, because in the FA Cup, everyone wants to watch the underdog.
Yeah,
like,
and that's
when it's a big game anyway. Like, that's the interest.
Yeah, because obviously because of the fan bases, and I understand that's like it is about ratings for them. I do understand that, but you know the whole point of that is that's why we've got the Premier League. You know, that's the thing, and the FA Cup is to give those those teams that opportunity that they will never get. And the fact they put, I think it was the Palace Everton, I think it ended 0-0 possibly, and then you go and watch us, and we were 12:30 kickoff, and we beat Stevenage. So it's like, you know, which game would you rather be in? I mean, I know there's a lot of supporters that have got absolutely no interest in the lower league sides that are doing well in the competition. I get that. But for the vast majority of supporters, they, like you said, Claire, everyone loves to see an underdog, you know, and that was a massive deal in that, to see a club from the National South beating a Stevenage side. You think that could have been on BBC, that could have been on ITV, even just like as a ITV4. If it was just one of those sort of, you know, games, it still would have been a massive deal in terms of money and everything like that for these clubs. And yeah, I don't get it at all. I don't get it.
Yeah, and it's as you said, Ben, like because that game again, no disrespect to Palace or whatever, and again Rebecca, but the reality is that would have been on 7th or 8th on Match of the Day on a regular Premier League weekend. It wasn't a game that people would watch in a regular versus as a kind of big one. As you said, there were so many better options, and if lower league's not for people, then maybe the FA Cup's not for them either. You know, that's the whole point of it. That's the whole magic of it. It's not just the final rounds and the teams in there and such. So. Simon says that's why everyone was against us when we drew Maidstone in the FA Cup. Yeah, cheated them out of it, Simon. Cheated them out of it.
You got your revenge on the Simon, though, so that's all that matters.
Don't worry. Yeah, see, I saw you giving me it. The weekly Simon FA Cup semi-final comment was there. Don't worry. Good news is, Simon, though, with the Euros, they've got this new offside thing, haven't they, with the 3D, so you can see, so you can.
You know what? Properly. God rest her soul. My grandma, Simon, would turn around to you and say, learn to cope or bite it. Just get over it. It's gone. You can't do anything about it now. You've moaned about it enough at this point.
Yeah. And as Gav, our referee, said, it was offside. It was offside at the end of the day, whether we like it or we don't. But never mind. I won't rub it in. We love you really, Simon. I won't rub it in. I'll just shine my trophy up here in the corner.
Yeah, just
yeah. We're all England at the moment. We're all England, and we're all going to suffer with that together. So yeah, if you get stitched by an offside at England, Simon, I'll be right with you. But
I can see him sitting at home now, going, "Oh no." Only joking, Simon. Well, about that bit, not about you shutting up now.
There we go. I think we've reached our segue to what a wonderful show. I've really enjoyed it tonight. It's nice. I'm liking this summer one, bringing everyone together, just having a chin wag about, you know, the wonders of English football at national tournaments, everything under the sun we fancy talking about. So it's been a pleasure to be with you. And let's go round our socials, shall we? And we'll start with you, of course, Rebecca, who I've now nicknamed Rebecca Undershaw, of course, is your new name. Tell us all about your underscores, Undershaw.
You can find me here. The point. So my personal ones are _Rebecca_Shaw_. I regret making that when I first made my social medias, but yeah, you can find me there, and you can also find me screaming in the grandstands from about 8:20 all weekend at the British Grand Prix.
There you go. 5 days count. You'll see Rebecca there. Yeah. Carl's left, right, and center. Is that you going to be going vroom, vroom, vroom?
Because it's one of them with there being F3, F2, and F1. And I've got favourites in all of them. I don't think I'm going to be able to speak by Monday. So that'll be fun.
This is true. Podcasting for next week for Rebecca might be a challenge. I'd say while we've got you as an F1 fan, then Rebecca, who was at fault yesterday, Lando or Max?
I'd say Max. I mean, one thing I do have to, they brought racing back, which we love, but I do think it was Max. But what was even funnier is the fact that my favourite, Logan Sargent, who had been lapped twice, I think, was just in the middle of this. So them two crashing, he just goes past. But yeah, I think Max was at fault, but I enjoyed the battle.
Straight over my head, this.
I was going to say, what's your opinions of it, Claire? Claire, where can we...
around in a circle.
Technically, they do.
Beggars me. She's fuming.
Drive around in the show. You are to everyone what people are. It's just people kicking a ball around on some grass. What's that? Oh dear. Go on then, Claire. Where can everybody find you for more of the joy of Claire?
I did it. Claire_Jeffs on Twitter. Or you can find me on Hatters_Hangout on a Tuesday at 9:00. We're not doing as many during the close season, but we are doing one tomorrow because we have a lot to talk about where Stockport County are concerned.
Very exciting, very exciting. Do check that out. And of course, our man himself, Ben, where can everybody find you? Now you're back to football, ready for the new season.
Well, I mean, on Ben Stone's FC1, obviously not much going on at Maidstone too much at the moment. So, yeah, I'll be limited at the moment. I'll be trying to keep my Gareth Southgate out weeks to a minimum, judging over the next couple of weeks. But yeah, it depends how Saturday goes. There might be some more passionate rants possibly, but if not, you might see a few pictures from out in Berlin on Saturday, on Friday and Saturday. So I'll try and keep you all informed about how it is. Huh?
Spam us in the group. I want to see all the photos.
Yeah, don't worry, I will do. There'll be plenty. I don't know if I could do the vlog that you and Shard did when you went to Rochdale. I don't think I've got that in me, to be fair. Nice little absolute football podcast and vlog for you from Germany. How about that?
There we go. Draped in your Romanian flag.
I was going to take my most of the vlog with me, but I don't know if I want to now. So it might get nipped. So I'll stick the Romanian one because I don't mind losing that.
There we go. Go and follow Ben as well. And if for whatever reason you want to follow me, I'm now at Sam Absolute Football FBL on Twitter, on TikTok, doing some bits and pieces. But mostly I'm here. If I can find the socials, they're about somewhere. Here we go. There they are. That's what we're looking for. Look at all those wonderful faces. We are the Absolute Football Podcast. And we have many different handles because Josh is awkward and loves being awkward, so he just made them all different because it's easy for everyone to remember when it's different. On Twitter, we are at Absolute Ball Pod. On YouTube, we're at Absolute Football Podcast, and on Twitch as well. On TikTok, at Absolute Football Pod. On Instagram and Threads, Absolute Football Podcast _, and on Facebook, the Absolute Football Podcast. We are Mondays at the minute doing Euro 2024 with some Premier League stuff. On Wednesday, the WSL team will be back talking women's football. And of course, the Rowdy Rabble on a Thursday will be talking lower league football with Shah and the fantastic team we have there. So go and check them out. But for now, everybody, keep your fingers crossed. Magic can happen. Maybe something magic will happen in a couple of weeks' time, or maybe it will all turn to shit. Let's wait and see and have a wonderful week. Take care and we'll catch you on the next one.